The Tale of the Man Who Lost His Wife to a Demon, the 17th tale. Once upon a time, a man from the eastern lands came to Kyoto with the intention of seeking honor and buying land. His wife, who wanted to see Kyoto as well, accompanied him. Because they could not find a suitable lodging, they ended up staying at a temporary place by the riverbank. They borrowed this place from the custodian, who allowed them to use it. The house was somewhat concealed and unfurnished, but they set up their temporary residence with some curtains and made do. One evening, as they were staying there, the wife's room door was suddenly pushed open from inside. The man thought it might be someone from within the house, but was startled when he saw that the door was being forcibly opened. A strange, unseen force swiftly took his wife inside the room and pulled her through the door, which soon after closed tightly. Despite his frantic attempts to open the door and calls for help, the door remained firmly shut. He ran to neighboring houses and begged for assistance, but no one could help open the door. The evening grew darker, and in desperation, he used a pickaxe to break through the door. Inside, he found his wife dead, with no visible wounds, but she had been killed and left in a grim state. People began to speculate that it was a demon that had killed her, but their guesses were in vain. Terrified by the incident, the man fled, unable to stay in the area. This unusual event became a warning, and it was passed down that one should avoid staying in such old, unfamiliar places. Thus, the story has been passed down. The Tale of the Demon Who Killed a Samurai, the 18th tale. Once upon a time, two young samurai stationed in the southern part of a house were staying the night in a certain man's home. These samurai were known for their caution and had brought large swords with them. They were discussing and passing the time when they noticed something unusual. As the night grew deeper, they saw a board suddenly sticking out from the roof of the eastern gable. They were puzzled, thinking, how could a board be sticking out like that? If someone was trying to set a fire, they would climb up from below, not from above. The board continued to protrude gradually until it extended about 7 or 8 feet. Seeing this strange sight, the samurai thought, this must be a demon, and drew their swords, preparing to defend themselves. They each crouched, ready to strike if the board came closer. However, instead of coming nearer, the board slipped stealthily through a crack near the corner of the room. When the board entered, it became clear that it was coming from the direction of the man who was sleeping alone, a high-ranking samurai of the 5th rank. The man was found crushed as if something heavy had fallen on him, and though he groaned a few times, no further sounds were made. The two samurai, alarmed by the situation, alerted the others. People gathered, lit torches, and investigated. They found the high-ranking samurai dead, with no sign of the board outside or inside. Everyone was deeply terrified by this incident. The samurai, realizing that the demon had struck when the high-ranking samurai was unarmed and asleep, concluded that the demon must have been a sinister force present in the house. It was uncertain whether such a demon had been there all along or if it had appeared recently. This event led people to believe that one should always carry a sword or weapon for protection. Thus, the story has been passed down. The Tale of the Demon in the Oil Bottle, the 19th tale. Once upon a time, there was a right minister named Ononomiya, known as Masukane. He was highly esteemed for his talent and wisdom, and people referred to him as one of the wisest ministers of his time. One day, as he was traveling down from the great palace, he saw a small oil bottle dancing in front of his carriage. The minister thought this was a strange occurrence and wondered if it was a sign of some supernatural force. The oil bottle danced and approached the gate of a nearby house, which was shut tight. Despite the gate being closed, the bottle repeatedly tried to enter through the keyhole, eventually managing to squeeze through. The minister observed this and sent someone to inquire about any unusual events at the house. The messenger returned and reported that a young daughter in the house had recently passed away. The minister concluded that the oil bottle must have been a manifestation of some malevolent spirit, and it had entered the house to cause harm. Thus, it was thought that such supernatural phenomena could appear in various forms. This story has been passed down as a reminder of the strange and mysterious nature of vengeful spirits. The Tale of the Vengeful Spirit from Omi Province, the 20th tale. Once upon a time, there was a low-ranking person traveling from Kyoto towards Mino and Owari provinces. He intended to leave Kyoto at dawn, but as he traveled late into the night, he came across a woman dressed in blue, standing alone at a crossroad. The man thought it odd that a woman would be standing alone at this hour and suspected that she might have some ulterior motive. As he approached, the woman asked him, "Who are you traveling with?" The man replied that he was traveling to Mino and Owari. The woman then urged him to hurry, saying that she had something important to tell him and asked him to stay for a moment. When the man asked what the matter was, the woman explained that she was looking for the house of a person named a senior official and was worried she might get lost. The man offered to guide her, though he found her urgency peculiar. When they reached the house of the official, the woman thanked him profusely and, in a moment of strange joy, disappeared suddenly. The man found this behavior very unsettling. When he tried to enter the house, he found the gate locked. As he stood there bewildered, he heard cries of mourning from within. He soon learned that the cries were due to a death, and the household was in distress. The man, feeling uneasy, decided to stay nearby until morning. The next day, he learned that the woman was a vengeful spirit from Omi Province. She had been causing distress to the household and had been seen as a spirit seeking revenge. The man was deeply troubled by this encounter and returned home, thinking about the terrifying nature of vengeful spirits. Thus, the story has been passed down as a cautionary tale about the fearsome nature of spirits seeking vengeance. The Tale of Kino Tōsuke and the Woman's Spirit. Once upon a time, there was a man named Fujiwara no Kohan who was the governor of Shimosa Province. At that time, he was entrusted with the estate of Ikutsu in Mino Province. There was a man named Ki no Tosuke at this estate. Among the many people there, Kohan had Tosuke serve him and summoned him to the residence of the East Sanjo-dono for a night watch. After completing the night watch, Tosuke was granted leave and sent back to Mino. As he crossed the bridge at Setsuda, he noticed a woman standing there with her sleeves held up. Tosuke, finding it strange, was about to pass by when the woman asked, "Where are you going?" Tosuke replied, "I am going to Mino." The woman then said, "I wish to send a message. Would you listen to it?" Tosuke agreed, saying, "I am at your service." The woman said, "Please take this small box wrapped in silk from my bosom and deliver it to the wife at the bridge in the village of Togen in Hoken province. If you find the wife at that bridge, give it to her." Tosuke found this request a bit troublesome and thought it was an unnecessary task. However, the woman seemed quite earnest and intimidating, so he reluctantly accepted the box. He then asked, "How should I find this wife at the bridge? If I don't meet her, how should I inquire about her? And who should I say sent this?" The woman replied, "Just wait at the bridge. The wife will surely come to receive it. There is no chance of a mistake. But be warned, do not open this box." After this, Tosuke's attendants, who had not seen the woman, were perplexed and thought it odd that their master had dismounted from his horse for no apparent reason. Tosuke took the box and the woman disappeared. Later, while traveling to Mino, Tosuke forgot the location of the bridge and did not deliver the box. Upon reaching home, he remembered it was inconvenient not to have delivered the box. He decided to return and retrieve it from where he had left it by the shop. Tosuke's wife, who was extremely jealous, saw the box and thought, "This box must have been bought in Kyoto and hidden from me." While Tosuke was away, she secretly took the box, opened it, and found it contained items that seemed to be curses and malevolent symbols. Seeing this, she was horrified and frightened. When Tosuke returned, she showed him the contents of the box. Tosuke, upon seeing the items, lamented, "It's a pity that such things were seen. How troublesome." He then quickly rewrapped the box and took it to the bridge as instructed. There he found the woman's wife and delivered the box. The wife took the box and said, "This box was never meant to be opened." Although Tosuke insisted that there was nothing unusual, the woman's demeanor was very unpleasant. The wife accepted the box with a bitter expression, and Tosuke returned home. Afterward, Tosuke fell ill and told his wife, "I opened the box you were warned not to open," and shortly thereafter, he died. Thus, it is said that deep seated jealousy and baseless suspicion in a wife can lead to disastrous outcomes for her husband. Due to her jealousy, Tosuke unexpectedly and unfairly lost his life. People have since told this story as a cautionary tale against such jealousy. Thus, the story has been passed down.